everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. We'll wait a couple minutes for folks to get in our portal, our Zoom. But I just wanted to just introduce myself. My name is Jena Young. I'm the Grant and Project Specialist. I go by she and her. I'm an Asian American woman with glasses today, the round ones that are in fashion. I have a long black hair, and I'm wearing this turtleneck sweater that is seafoam green color. And I'm in my 30s, and so I'd like to introduce to you to our executive director, Lisa Smith.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Smith. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the executive director of the Washington State Microenterprise Association. Super glad to be here with Jena. I'm an older white woman with short, blondish black hair. I've got a blurred background, black jacket with a blue little heater thing and a red turtleneck. I'm very glad to be here.
All right, we'll get started. So this session is recorded and will be uploaded on our website, and it will be broken into two pieces, one the information session and the grant portal walkthrough. So in addition, all the questions that asked today will be answered and will be put into frequently asked question documents, and that will be also on our website and our newsletters as well. If you have any questions, please throughout the session, please put in the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to answer them throughout the information time. Okay, well, I'd like to go quickly about the agenda today. So we're going to go over the grant purpose and logistics, and we're also going to talk about the budget request and the selection criteria and the review process. And if you get approved by if you get approved for your grant proposal, we're going to talk about the expectations as potential grantees. And in addition, we're going to go over the application process, and we'll have Q&A section as well. But after all this information, I will go and walk you all through how to use the grant portal. And for folks who have already done so, previous grantees, no need to stay for that, but this is really for the folks who are new. So now we're going to have Lisa go over some of the logistics and purpose.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jena. We're just really wanting to make sure everybody in the room knows that this is a very short period of time, a very specific focus, and it's really important that folks who are intending to apply be aware that this is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs in the gig economy. And we want to make sure that those organizations that apply have existing programs that have already been established, that are proven, that they have experience working with this community. And our goal is really to develop these shared tools that other partners around the state can eventually work and get access to, so that the technical assistance and training and support that gig workers can receive is well researched and broadly accessible. So some definitions. We're looking at the gig economy, and the way we're thinking about this is that this is activity where people earn income providing on-demand work, services, or goods. And so some examples of gig workers include freelancers, independent contractors, project-based workers, and temporary part-time hires. This program, this grant round, is dedicated solely to urban communities, and these are entrepreneurs within or immediately adjacent to metropolitan core or urban counties, or in the urban counties having a population more than 20,000 people. And then finally, we're looking to support these organizations like yours, entrepreneurial support organizations. We used to refer to them as MDOs, but now This is much clearer, more accessible term. And these are organizations including CDFIs or community development financial institutions that are predominantly focused on business training, technical assistance, and or financing for small businesses. Now, it's important. You have to be a nonprofit or have a fiscal sponsor. Our focus really is dedicated to serving all businesses, but we are hoping that ESOs or organizations that dedicate their training programs to Black, Indigenous, and other entrepreneurs of color, LGBTQ+, people with disabilities, rural, all kinds of creatives from different sectors in urban centers. We will require any of the partners providing technical assistance to be on Evergreen BizLink or at least have an application in. Again, this is about urban-focused training and technical assistance. And those organizations that are providing these services to workers in the gig economy. And we're going to be expecting you to track and record the work you do and be able to share the kind of relationship you have with other partners in this business development ecosystem. And you will have to have the required insurance coverage to do this work. Okay, now last year we stuck our toe in the water of this service or this work around serving entrepreneurs in the gig economy. And this year, and this will probably be the last year, we'll really have dedicated work, time, and funding to support nonprofits that are really skilled and have existing programming for workers in the gig economy or entrepreneurs. So if you have a program that's been tested, that's existing, providing technical assistance and services to support the unique challenges of gig workers, then that would be an ideal, you would be an ideal applicant. If you have already explored or are providing research-based tools or strategies, again, it would be an optimal applicant. Have you done training or do you have tools around helping gig workers with their taxes or their operations or business systems? You would be an ideal applicant. Have you done any kind of research or education, or you have tools that are existing? Important. And then if your organization doesn't have easy, direct, accessible connections with entrepreneurs in the gig economy, you might not be the most eligible. We're looking for partners who have existing relationships, have connections with, have tools, strategies, resources that have worked in order to support these entrepreneurs to get on their path. And then it's Jena.
Thanks, Lisa. Trying to find that mute button. Well, so I just wanted to let you all know important dates. We do have some stuff that we wanted to remind you of. So March 1st was when our grant guidelines was released. And starting today, the grant portal is open. And also today is our information session and grant portal walkthrough. So the proposals are due by 5 p.m. on March 27th. Late submission will not be accepted. Our grant portal will actually close at 5:01 p.m. So please try to get it early or on time. We will have the decision by April 19th or even earlier. So for the applicants who receive the grant, we'll get that notice. And the project due date is June 21st, and that includes the report as well.
I wonder, Jena, if I could just step in here so that if there are folks in the room who are small businesses or LLCs or private companies, I just want you to say that you will not be eligible for this grant opportunity. If you're a nonprofit or have fiscal agent, then you would be eligible. I also wanted to say that there's definitions for gig worker or gig economy are in the grant guidelines. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat.
Yeah, and also, Lisa, did you know that chambers can also apply for our grants as well? They're unique folks, but they're part of the EDO, so they're open for that as well. And if you're a nonprofit, but if you're not a nonprofit but has a physical sponsor who is a nonprofit, you're also qualified as well. But that's a tricky situation where we can talk individually later. So for our application, so we would need these things. So we need you to submit a document with the requested question from the program guidelines. We're asking if you can do a maximum 3 pages. And there's also a portion in the portal where you would put expected outcomes, and that is the quantitative data. And we will go over them during this session as well. There's a completed, we would need a completed funding request form. The form is in the guidelines, but we also put a copy of it on our website so you can download it and fill it out yourself as well. We will need your organization 2024 budget, and that's a different thing from your funding request form. That's your organization budget as well. And we would need your organization, a P&L, and that's usually your income statement. And if you can provide that ones that for the previous 12 months, that will be really helpful. And lastly, we would need you to provide your IRS 501c3 letter determination. If you have a physical sponsor, then we would need written agreement documenting the relationship with your physical sponsor. I would really ask y'all, when you're getting your documents prepared, please name your documents with the organization name and the document name. So I put an example there. If your organization name initial FC you would underscore, put whatever the document is for, because that would really help us to see them when we do our review process. And when I go over the portal walkthrough, you'll know what I'm talking about as well. So for the RFP process, so our RFP process provide a practical online application, and just to reduce waste and improve accessibility. And it is a very simple platform that allows us to communicate with you and document, do all of our reporting. So like I said, it's very accessible. So our website actually has the translation services, and the guidelines are also can be translated. So if you need help with that or need additional support, please reach out to me and I can see how I can assist you there. The proposals must provide all the information. They all must be submitted through the grant portal. Any incomplete portals will not be accepted, and they won't be reviewed as well. Submitted proposals, they do require electronic signature in the portal. Usually the folks who sign that part would be your executive director or whoever is legally responsible for the organization. We can also receive a hard copy if doing things electronic is really difficult. We just ask you to have the mail up by March 27th and have the address on the slide there. But if you can send me a quick email saying that, hey, I sent you the package and it should arrive on this date, that will be really helpful for us to make sure that we get your application, but I want to make sure that we're not responsible for the delay. So it is really best to do it electronically because it's super easy and super fast. But if you need any support on that, please reach out to me.
See, Jena, would it be okay to just respond to a couple of the questions in the chat?
Yep. Let's see.
Yeah, so first one I was just going to say is the difference between a gig worker and a micro business. I just want to take a little bit of time here because many of the nonprofits in our network are serving very small businesses, and gig workers are really on the furthest edge. They don't have an established business. They may not have a business license. They make it like 5 or 10 or 15 1099s. They're really operating as quickly as they can, but they're not formalized yet. That's one way of thinking about these gig workers. And so I would suspect that many of the nonprofits that we serve in our network are helping gig workers, but many are not. If you have training programs or resources dedicated to this particular group of folks who are not really formalized in their business yet, then you would be a perfect applicant for this. I hope that answered the question. The other question is from Edwin. We're currently developing a methodology to encourage a community model based on circular economy. So the question is, circular economy focused nonprofits are great as long as the purpose or the community of folks you're working with are in that gig worker space where they are not formalized, they're operating very organically. And I'd be glad to talk with you about that later on. And we will send out a FAQ to clarify these questions. Yes, a chamber can apply if it's a 501c6. And I do want to say too that if you're a business, or if you're a business and you get a fiscal sponsor, you're probably not going to be likely to be successful. It's those nonprofits that are in the process, they're registered with the Secretary of State, they're a nonprofit organization, but they don't have their 501c3, they need a fiscal sponsor, they're going to be the best applicant. All right, thank you, Jena.
That sounds great. Well, actually, Lisa, this is your time to go over the expected outcome definition. I know a lot of folks had confusion about this in previous grants, and so I hope this will be a good time for you all to know what we're expecting.
Wonderful. So just to say, there's two really key parts of this grant. One is the model, the tool, the toolkit, the resource, that kind of service that's going to be very helpful for supporting entrepreneurs in that gig economy. That's the service or that you're going to be applying for to support. The second part is applying that service or that resource to a community of gig workers. So you may have, let's say you have a toolkit for helping gig workers prepare for their taxes. And you have that, you've used it, and in this grant, you'll want to do that for a workshop or a training program or a virtual session. And when you do that, you'll have attendees, you'll be able to track who you're serving, you'll be able to get feedback from them. It's that application of your tools with a community, that's where these outcomes come in. So let's say you have this workshop, you've done with gig workers forever, you planned this for May, 25 entrepreneurs come, you're going to be tracking that activity. So, and if that gig worker formalizes, they become a formal business, they get their business license, they get registered with the Department of Revenue, right? That is a job created. Now, let's say that entrepreneur establishes that business and they hire somebody, that would be the second job created. So that's how we're thinking about these economic outcomes. Another example would be maybe there's a gig worker with 2 or 3 1099s. They're an artist and they're doing these gigs. But after they learn about how to formalize their business and they're getting more jobs, they will expand. That is a job, or that is a business expansion. We want you to be able to track what you're doing, who you're serving, how many of those events or how many of those entrepreneurs are being served by your organization that is funded by WSMA funds. Okay, I hope that's clear. Put any questions in there. I don't know if you want to go to the next slide.
Oh yeah, and I think if you can explain, like, did you have a chance to talk about the unduplicated?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's say, for example, and let me just tell you, the reason why we are doing this is because our contract with the Department of Commerce requires us to track who we're serving so that we can reach and serve more folks who have been historically marginalized, or more entrepreneurs that we want to make sure we're serving the folks that need to be served, but also track who is being served. Now, let's say in your training program, you train a person, but then you also provide that same person with technical assistance. And then you may help that gig worker with a microloan. Even though you provided several services, we're going to want you to track all those services you provided and the numbers of entrepreneurs you served. But when it comes to that question of unduplicated, that entrepreneur you provided services, 3 kinds of services to, you will only count that entrepreneur once for that unduplicated number. So you may have served 75 businesses, but only 30 unduplicated because they received multiple services. That's exactly right. And you can't know exactly how many entrepreneurs will come to your workshop, but if you've done this program before for entrepreneurs in the gig economy, you have a pretty high touch with them. You know kind of how many people generally come to your workshops, then that's the estimate you put in your grant. And then afterward, it may be you serve 15 more than you expected, or 5 less. It's okay. You're going to cover all of that when you provide your end of the grant report. Yeah, and this is again just important for us to understand not only your projected goals, but how many you hope to reach. Later on, Jena is going to be covering the goals a little bit more about your goals for your grant. But this is the section where you want to be really mindful about, in this short period of time for this short amount of money, how many can you realistically serve in what kind of services? And that's where you put these outcome numbers in.
Quickly, just want to let you know all the funds must be spent by June 21st, the end of the contract. Activities can begin on the date of contract signing. So that's why it's really helpful for us if we can get all the grantee responses in time, so we can get that grant check out for you right away, so you can get the money and start your awesome project. The grant funds will be available to the grantee within 20 business days of contract signing. And the priority areas of focus that includes BIPOC, veterans, people with disabilities, returning citizens, LGBTQ+, and other historical marginalized microbusiness in Washington State. And I just wanted to show that all of the folks that I just listed, they'll be under the demographic of those to be served. And so that'll be where you can put numbers of folks that you think how many that you serve that are BIPOC, veterans. Anything you want to add in, Lisa? Are we okay? All right. Quickly, we'll go over the budget request. So make sure that your budget really describes the cost of your projects. You will use, like I said earlier, you will use the fund request form, and written budget justification for each line is required. Making sure that your budget really does reflect your activities, and if there's if there are costs that are not related, we recommend you not including them. So the budget request must be either 10,000 or 20,000. You got to come up with activities and costs that fills up those two costs. So because of this specific focus and the short cycle of our urban grant funding, there will be limited number of grants awarded in amounts of either 10,000 or 20,000 based on the applicant's proposed deliverables or other selection. So like I said, it has to be either 10,000 or 20,000.
And so maybe just to add a little bit of detail there, because of this short window, if you have a more complex proposal, you would want to go for the larger amount. But yeah, just be really judicious about thinking, what can you do in this amount of time, and how much in-depth work and reporting can you accomplish in that time for that amount of money? Thank you.
Great. Well, so there are some rules about using the grant funds. So we are funded by the Washington State Department of Commerce. So this is government funds. So there'll be similar restriction as other government grant. And so unfortunately, the funds cannot go directly to any business that includes stipends or transportation support. We know that's really important, and we've taken that feedback from the organization. So, but keep letting us know if that's a huge issue. Funds cannot go to equipment, like tangible equipment such as copying machines, cars, vehicles, furniture, software, and technology infrastructure. So the funds can go to project-related expenses such as materials, like if you need to print brochures or get notebooks, supplies. And this is also include translation and services. You can use that as part of the consulting fees. And the money can go to pay for your staff who is doing the amazing work. You can also cover their mileage or any transportation, if they have to travel really far. We understand there's the stay, so that's some stuff that you can use the funds for. If you need to hire a marketing folks to create a nice poster, or if you're gonna do a toolkit, need some graphic to for that, you can hire marketing consultants. And if you want to do a workshop or use a facility and need to pay the rental fee, that's what the money can go to. And if you're trying to bring guest speakers or folks that can do technical assistance or anything that you're gonna bring outside folks and provide the fees, that is also included as well. And if you're not sure of anything, you can always reach out to us and we can help you along the way. So for selection criteria, so you can apply the funds to strengthen your organization programs. This is really to provide the best practice tools, resources, education, training, and other supports specifically designed to support gig entrepreneurs in every sector. Program can include webinar, workshop, or training programs, technical assistance, or innovative strategy to build the capacity of gig workers. And so just a quick demonstration of services or tools that provided by grantees for small gig-based business must occur within this grant period. The sectors that you support the gig workers on, it could be it's not limited to, but it could be agriculture, food, childcare, clean materials, clean tech, creative economy, arts, energy efficient, home building, construction, life science, maritime trades, small scale manufacturing, and tourism. So those are the sectors that are an options, but cross-sector collaboration and within or among sectors, that'll be also prioritized as well. In the past, WSMA received requests in excess of our available grant fund, and we may not be able to fund everyone, but this grant cycles, we're trying to explore the landscape of gig economy, and while we hope to continue doing this work, funding is not guaranteed to continue in future years, so we hope that this is the opportunity for folks to grow and learn more for us about gig economy. And each proposal will be independently evaluated, and we'll make sure that WSMA is dedicated ensuring that the funds are distributed throughout the state to achieve the geographic and demographic equity. So quickly on the review process, so we do have a review panel. We will go over, we will do a formal review process. They'll review all our application, all of the grantee applications, and then April 19th we'll be notifying the approved grantees. And so hopefully everything will go well. And Lisa, I think the folks from the review panel, they're from the community as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a great group of people who have experience in business, who have touch and connections with ESOs, and so we're fortunate that the decisions are made by them. Jena is and our team is making sure that those grants are ready, they're inclusive. But I also want to say that our team will help you and provide technical assistance so that you can, get your application in. We want as many applications to be under the reviewer's eye as possible.
Thanks, Lisa. So what happens if you are approved? So if you're approved grantees, there's a few things that we'll ask you to do or follow up on. So we'll need your W-9 form or your payment processing form. We'll also need your logo, but we also need you to put our logos and acknowledgement in your marketing materials. I put our two logos there, the WSMA and Evergreen BizLink. And so the work that we will outline throughout the negotiation and your application, you will have to complete the work. And hopefully by then you'll be our resource partner in the Evergreen BizLink. If you'd like to learn more about the Evergreen BizLink, we'll be happy to reach out to you and talk more about that as well. And if we have any webinar, and we think you're really great folks to share your project, we'll ask if that's possible for you to attend as a participant. And lastly, submit a final report by June 21st. The reporting requirements is a 4-page summary. All the reporting document needs to be uploaded on the portal on or before June 21st, 2024. You will input the final outcome numbers in the portal, and I'll be available for any assistance. So please feel free to reach out to me, and there will be a certification that the funds were used according to the contract. So now I will go over the project information, and this is the uploaded document that will be answering our questions, which were 6 questions in the guideline. So the first question, describe your organization's ability to reach and serve gig workers, business owners in your urban area. Provide details of your connection with these workers and how you know you're on track with what they need. Provide examples of how your organization has supported the business needs of gig workers and owners. So this part describes who and what. Like, what is your agency? What is your agency history? The population you serve? Do you work with other agencies and organizations? How does that partners work? So it's really answering those questions. In addition, like going and talking about the population that you serve. For whom does this problem exist? Who is the one with has taken this problem, and you can share like what unique skills and expertise do you bring to this challenge. So it's best if you can describe details of your existing service, resource, product that are currently supporting workers in the gig economy. So for question 2, what research partners or other information have you gathered data or understanding the needs and gap in the support noted by gig workers? So this question is really answering why. Why do these needs and gaps exist? How did you find out that this is a problem? Some of our organizations, they have worked with gig workers for many years, because maybe they were gig workers themselves and they had surveys and they are already part of the community, and that's how they were able to get that information. So those are the folks that we are looking for, so that we can have the guidance of, like, what is the best way to serve our gig workers. And for question 3, 4, 5, they're basically our understanding of, for our demographics, similar to the expected outcome, the demographic here. You would just identify, which community you serve. There was a BIPOC, minority-owned business, women, veterans, returning citizens. So all that stuff, you would just put yes or no, or a list of communities that you serve. For us, it's really important to know that your organization does have support BIPOC and all the other communities that I just listed. Lastly, for question 6, and Lisa, feel free to chime in. This is the big one. So you will list your primary deliverables that your organization will provide with these grant funds. Like we mentioned earlier, if there's already existing service or existing project, or there is a toolkit or that you want to do, and so this is the perfect time for you to explain, what that is. So we put some examples there. If you want to use the fund to spread information about protection for gig workers, you have this amazing workshop that you do specifically for gig workers, and you have this template and you want to share it to other organizations. Well, that's also a great deliverable as well. If you want to do a business service toolkit for supporting gig workers that you can share to organizations, counties, even the whole Washington state, that is also good. And so just really about you explaining how you tend to use the WSMA grant funds and what tools and resources can you provide. Because we're hoping to share what you have come up with to the whole Washington state too. Right, Lisa?
Yeah, nice job, Gina. And what our intention is not to provide funds for you to learn how to serve gig workers or to begin the process. It's really for those who have established programming. And then the idea is you describe what that essential tool or service is, and then also how you will apply it. What will it be? A workshop? Will it be a webinar? Will it be a series of events? What will it be? So it's 2. And in that second part, that's where your economic outcome numbers will be reflected. How many workshops, how many people attending, where will it be located, etc.
And some of the things that you will want to do might be trainings, technical assistance, or even microlending, or helping folks have access to financing. So that can be included, and those are the things that are in the expected outcomes. So you can use that as to get quantitative data. So I wanted to talk a little bit about SMART goals. So before you begin to list your deliverables, there needs to be discussion about what is desired end result, like why this goal is important to you, and what measurement options are, like what does success look like. And that is important, valuable part of performance planning. So just wanted to share you some tools. So I know a lot of folks know SMART, but I also didn't know SMART till a few years ago. So it's a really helpful tool for you to figure out, like I said, help you make some measurable outcomes. So for S is specific. So what would you accomplish? What action would you take accomplishing it? And you can tell who is doing what to whom and when. For measurable, what data will measure the goal? How much? How well? You can include activities that you can track that leads to outcome. And so what metrics are you going to use to determine if you meet the goals? This goal make more tangible because it provide more measuring process. How will you measure what success will look like in meeting the goals? What are tangible items that you can measure the outcome? And how do you know that the product or training for gig workers work? So a suggestion for that would be doing survey or questionnaires for the applicants to fill out afterwards. There's been a really fun ones like Google Forms or Microsoft Forms. So if you need suggestions or need help with that, feel free to reach out. We can give you some ideas. A for achievable, is the goal doable? We want to, like this is a short grant cycle, want to make sure that, we be realistic of the time that you have. So it should be, within the existing time frame, method, and budget. So if this, so you want to create some milestone that consider specific tasks to accomplish it and helping you make little goals to track and assess process. R is for relevant. How does this goal align with the broader goal, which is to support the gig economy and your organization mission? Why are the results important? The goal should reflect your program's overall context and this grant purpose. Lastly, T for time related. So since it's a short time frame, understanding how what do you need to do right away. Anyone can set goals, but if it lacks realistic timing, chances are you might not be succeeding with this grant process. So providing a target date of your deliverables is really important. Ask specific questions within your team about goal deadlines and what can be accomplished within that time period. So if creating a toolkit is reasonable for you, then that's a really great way to spend our money. So that's how smart you will be if you follow these SMART rules. Okay, so so we're almost at the end, but just want to let you know how do you if you want to apply, if you, after listening to us, realizing that, oh, this is a really great grant for us to be part of, well, you can go to our grant. We can go to our website, and there in the link of our grant opportunities, if you go there, it'll have all of our guidelines. It'll also have a link to this recording once we're done with this today. And like I said, if you need translations or language support, it's all available on our website. Also, from our website, you can ask this directly to the grant portal page. And so that's what it should look like. So if you have any issue with it, which I will go over, you'll reach out to me if you have any questions of that. But speaking of questions, now is our Q&A. Let's take this quick time of answering some of the Q&As.
If, for example, you want to start something new, like a loan fund or something that is brand new for gig workers, this would not be the right funding source for you at this moment. But if in this, we're going to have another funding round in the fall, and if that's something you want to work on, we can meet with you and talk with you about it between now and the fall. This is really for existing training, technical assistance, and financing support for gig workers. All right, take it away, Jena.
Thanks, Lisa.